Hello everyone, for OneWrestling.com, this is Bill Apter, the Apter Chat face-to-face today from my home office in Philadelphia, PA, all the way miles and miles. We are transporting you by magic here to Helsinki, Finland, to the home office of a man named Starbuck. Welcome to the Apter Chat, first time.
Hey, thank you very much, Bill. It's a pleasure being on the Apter Chat.
Well, it's a pleasure having you, and I understand you have been touring Japan, and on February 27th, 2014, you hit a major home run. I mean, really out of the park.
That's right, yeah. I mean, it's I became the WNC, the Wrestling New Classic champion, defeating the Japanese buzzsaw, Yoshihiro Tajiri. And he and I, we've had a feud for the past 4 years, since it was February 2010 it started. And in Japan, in Finland, we faced each other, and it's been on since then, you know, and we've had some great matches. I mean, the match of the year 2011, as voted by the readership of Pro Wrestling Weekly, or Pro Wrestling Weekly, or was it Weekly Pro Wrestling
Yes,
magazine?
Weekly Pro Wrestling in Japan.
Was voted the match of the year, he and I, in JCB Hall, when I dropped the FCF championship to him back in 2010. For 2011, it was the match of the year that year in Smash, and that, you know, that's saying a lot, because the thing is that there's a lot of matches up for grabs, and we got voted up there. And the next year, my match with Dave Finlay was voted the match of the year in Smash. Also,
remember that. I do remember that. Actually, from what I understand, you have the belt with you here. So why don't you hold up the gold and let everybody see?
Well, here it is. It's the beauty right here. Still got Tajiri's name on it too, right there at the bottom, the decal. But that'll be coming off very soon, and I'll just get my own nameplate down there. And nonetheless, yeah. So it's a beautiful belt. Absolutely.
Now there are a lot of people watching this right now who are either diehard WWE or TNA, or they don't follow wrestling in Japan or Finland, etc. So let's go back and tell them who Starbuck is. How did it all start for you? How did you get that name, first of all?
Well, the thing is, the name. A lot of people ask me about the name. Why did you name yourself after a coffee chain? And I always tell them I didn't. I never did. First of all, Starbuck is a character from Battlestar Galactica. Gregory Peck, back in the old days, was Lieutenant Starbuck. And when I started my own hard rock band, Stoner Kings, back in 2000 here in Finland, I took a handle, I took a name, a gimmick name for myself, and that was Starbuck. And all the guys in the band had gimmick names, just like Slash and Guns N' Roses. I mean, that's not his real name, but Slash is Alice Cooper. That's not his real name.
It's not his real name?
No. You know, and Blackie Lawless from Wasp, and Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue. These are not real names.
Sure.
So I mean, when people, I just thought it would be a good thing to try to profile the band with gimmick names. And up until that time, when I broke into the wrestling business in 1992, in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, I broke in under Beef Wellington, who was Chris Benoit's old tag team partner for Stu Hart Stampede Wrestling. Beef was the promoter, along with Steve DeSalvo, who was Steve Strong out of Montreal, out of Gino Brito's International Wrestling.
You're bringing back great memories.
Yeah, this is the time that I grew up in, Bill. I mean, I grew up with the Apter mags too, you know.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it was a beautiful time. I mean, it's a time of innocence. You know, I look back on that time, and a time of not really knowing the wrestling business, of course. But by the same token, it's a beautiful time, because it's that everything is legitimate, you know, in that time and in that moment, and there's a different flavor to it. But nonetheless. So Beef Wellington and Steve DeSalvo were the promoters that broke me in back in '92. I was an announcer, a ring announcer and a TV announcer for Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling out of Calgary, Alberta, Canada. At that time, the roster included Chris Jericho, Lance Storm, Lenny St. Clair, who was Dr. Hannibal in FMW, or Dr. Luther. Was it Dr. Luther, Dr. Hannibal? Nonetheless, one or the other. And then there was Firebird Brett Como, and guys that came in and out of there, Jason the Terrible, Carl Moffat, who was one of my coaches also wrestled for Stampede and for Carlos Colon out of Puerto Rico. And then there was Chip the Firebreaker from WCW. He came in there for a spell. Johnny Smith,
Johnny Smith, sure.
Johnny
So
Smith.
how long were you in that territory?
I was there, for a year and a half. I was there, and there was a promoter there who was promoting after Beef. Kind of like just, I don't know what happened to him, but he just kind of like just fell out. And Ed Langley, who was a promoter. If you read Chris Jericho's book, you know who Ed Langley is.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, Ed Langley hated my guts.
Uh-oh.
He despised me.
Uh-oh.
And anyway, back in the day, in '93, I was training partners at a place called The Gym in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, with Lance Storm. Lance and I were training partners for 1 year. And we'd go and train 3 times a week, and I'd go after work, and we'd meet up, and we'd train for an hour, hour and a half.
By the way, let me just cut in here. What name were you wrestling as at this point?
I wasn't wrestling, you see. I was
not wrestling. What name were you using back then?
Mike Marshall.
Okay.
Like the Marshalls of the Old West. That's why, because Calgary is kind of like the Wild West of Canada.
It is.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the Texas of Canada.
Okay.
So nonetheless, yeah, I was using Mike Marshall, and at that time, I was training with Lance, and one day at the gym, Lance says to me, you know what, I see the passion that you have for this business, for professional wrestling. I see the passion in you. If you want, I will train you for free. And there's a guy coming from Australia at that time to train at the Hart Brothers camp on the off season. And he didn't have a training partner, so Lance says, I need a training partner for this guy. And because I was his friend at that time, and I was Lance's friend, he said, you're the guy, I'll take you, if you're interested. Was I interested? Hell yeah, I was. So I took him up on his offer, and that's where I started. Right before that, Carl Moffat, who was wrestling as Jason the Terrible, he would train guys. He was the booker back then. And he was training guys, I think it was like once a week on Wednesday nights or something like that at the Victoria Park Civic Center in Calgary, which is right next to the Corral where Stu Hart used to promote, and that's where we ran our shows, the Rocky Mountain shows. And he would train like the younger guys on the roster, and he invited me down. He says, if you want to get some time down, get some training in the ring, just come down, get your gear on, and I'll train you. So Carl Moffat, Lance Storm are my coaches in this business, and that's that's basically how I got my start.
Okay.
And January 7th, 1994, Calgary, Alberta, Canada, at the Victoria Park Civic Center, me against Lance Storm, my debut match, January 7th, 94.
Wow.
7 minutes competitive match. Lance Storm pins me with a jackknife powerbomb and a float over pin. And, so there were guys there that night, other guys, in the locker room who said, we had the second best match of the night, right behind Beef Wellington against Chris Jericho.
That's great. That's great. So now, through the years, you worked your way into a lot of different companies and internationally. And in Japan, you are one of the top stars, and now you have this title. Tell us about, beside Tajiri, who else is in contention? Obviously, he's going to get a rematch, but who else is in contention for this title?
Right now, I think that's up to WNC. That's up to their promotion. And
well, give us some of the names that are there that you would consider, if they put them in front of you, that would be top challenges for the title.
I would say my Synapse, more like Synapse is the team that I had with Akira Nagami and with Syuri Kondo for the last 2 years now. And that just disbanded this past, on the 27th of February. We disbanded that group. I would say probably Akira. Akira would be one of them. I've wrestled him a few times, and he is great. Just a fantastic talent. Okay. If I could handpick the guys that I'd like to wrestle, if you could, just let me have my choice of guys that I want to be in the ring with, Akira would be a top 5 guy. Okay. Steve Corino would be another guy.
Oh, Steve Corino, who lived actually 5 miles from Apter's Alley here, but I only get to see him when we're traveling overseas. That's absolutely amazing. But what a great competitor, still, really.
Yeah, and what a mind. I mean, the guy has one of the best minds for the business that I've come across.
And he's a good guy.
Yeah, legitimately, yes.
Yeah.
I've got a book coming out. I've got a book. It should be out this year. I'm not going to say any more about it at this point in time. Okay. It should be out in the United States in English. I've written it myself. Don't have a ghostwriter. I'm pretty good at writing too, by the way.
Okay.
So nonetheless, but Steve wrote an insert for my book also, so it's going to be interesting.
I can't wait to read this. Let's rewind again right now, almost rewinding forward, but want to show some photos of the match with you and Tajiri. Tell us a little bit about the match where you won the championship.
Well, I'll tell you, it was one of the hardest hitting matches that we've had. And every time I'm in the ring with this man, the Japanese buzzsaw, I tell you what, we kick the living daylights out of each other. I mean, we really laid into each other. And I had a friend who was in the audience watching. His name is Dr. Hiroaki Terasaki. He's a heart surgeon, a cardiovascular heart surgeon. He was in Helsinki for 2 years, and now he's back in Japan, and he's a long-time wrestling fan. He watched that match, and he said that is on the level, the intensity and the physical, like the physical impact of that match was on the level of some of the harder hitting matches that Antonio Inoki had back in the day with the mixed martial arts matches. And I tell you, the kicks that he laced into me with, I mean, I felt like my arm was going to break. I mean, he's working my arm, and it felt like my arm was going to snap. And I think, but that's what we do. I mean, it's not a dance. Dr. Death Steve Williams once said, it's not ballet. This ain't ballet. And it's true. You know, what we do is we're not in there acting wrestling, playing wrestling. We're in there actually wrestling.
Sure.
And it's a very competitive environment. So, I mean, that match was about 50 minutes long, and Tajiri went after my arm like a madman. I just kept on staying alive, fighting back, and right at the end there, I tried to catch him in my trademark spike pile driver. He escaped it once, but I got him into it. Like, I got him into it a second time. I nailed him with it, and at that point, it was academic.
That was it. How long had he held the title?
He had held that title since, I believe, let's see, Akira Nagami was the first champion last year. No, in 2012. Yeah, December 2012, he took the title. Then after that, it was... Wait a minute, hold on. It was Osamu Nishimura, and I think it was this past summer that... The summer 2013, I think Tajiri took the title.
If it's not exact, as people are watching this, they're right now going to their keyboards and Googling this, and they'll send the correction. You know that.
There you go.
That's how our fans are. They're great.
Exactly.
They're great. Where can people keep in touch with you on social media?
You go to Twitter. You go twitter.com/Rebel Starbuck. If you go to Facebook, my Facebook page is facebook.com/The Rebel Starbuck. Okay. That's all one big long word. And then also my official homepage, starbuck.fi on the internet. That means .Finland on the internet. So basically there you can nail me up and you can find me.
All right. I would love you to put the belt on your shoulder.
Right here.
Look right into the camera.
Name, like I say, so
look right into the camera, and for a minute or two, look right into the camera. And any upcoming challengers that are watching this, I'd like you right now to tell them why this title belt is going to stay with you.
You know, this title belt is going to stay with the Canadian Rebel right here, the Rebel Starbuck, because the reason being that since 1994, for 20 years, 4 continents, 18 countries, I have faced the best of the best in this business. The best competition that there is to offer. Genichiro Tenryu, I dropped a legend, a 35-year veteran with my pile driver in Japan, Korakuen Hall main event 1, 2, 3. I've faced Keiji Muto. I've faced the best of the best in the country of Japan. Outside of Japan, I faced the best in Europe, Michael Kovac, Bernard Van Dam, Chris the Bambi Killer Raber. The thing is, you get to a point where you realize, like Bret Hart once said, that I'm better than this guy, I'm better than that guy, I'm better than that guy. You just realize it. That's why every single competitor out there has got to realize this. When you come up against me, Starbuck, the Rebel is going to find one way or another to drop you on your head with my spike pile driver. And I guarantee you, your monkey ass is not going to rise after the 1, the 2, and the 3.
Starbuck with a warning of why he will keep that championship. This is Bill Apter
Absolutely.
with Starbuck. We'll see you at the matches. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.